The Benchwarmers is a movie about three nerdy men who form a baseball team to represent young boys who lack athletic ability. They compete against the state's best Little League teams and develop a large fan base of other nerds and misfits along the way. Scandal rocks the team when someone reveals that their star player, Gus Matthews, was an adolescent bully to someone named Marcus Elwood. Gus feels very guilty and ashamed of that part of his life. Following a discussion with his wife, Gus realizes that an apology is the one thing he can offer Marcus to help him move on with his adult life. With this thought in mind, Gus heads to his car and drives to the Elwood residence. This scene illustrates the popularly held belief that people need an apology to move on, but fails to address the more common need to self-heal when perpetrators are not concerned with the feelings of the victim. In the beginning of the scene, Marcus's mother opens the door to the basement, where Marcus is playing with a pterodactyl. Opening this door is like opening a portal to the worlds of protection Marcus constructed around him. He submerged himself in the disarray of castles and toys in an effort to bury his childhood pain. When Gus steps into the view of the stairway, Marcus immediately drops his toy teacup in horror and throws pieces of his constructed world at Gus. Gus descends the long stretch of the stairwell, showing that Marcus is more than a couple of steps away from reality. Marcus exits his cardboard castle ready to defend himself with a wizard hat and sword. Just as children dress up as superheroes, Marcus dresses himself with artificial armor in order to fend off the dragon of reality and the pain that accompanies it. As Gus begins to apologize for all the terrible things he did to Marcus when they were kids, Marcus accuses him of lying and retreats back into his cardboard castle. This illustrates Marcus's tendency to fall back on the fantasy world when confronted with the discomfort of reality. Gus continues to express his regret, but Marcus ignores this and shrieks at him to leave. In a voice ridden with guilt and defeat, Gus admits that he didn't expect Marcus to forgive him. For the first time, Marcus is silent. He is now ready to listen to Gus on an intellectual level instead of resorting to noisy distractions. With his benchwarmer's hat over his heart, Gus confesses that Marcus was his inspiration for playing on the team. He leaves this hat on the banister and says goodbye. This is a symbol of Gus trying to give Marcus back a piece of the childhood he took away from him as a kid. After Gus exits the scene, Marcus pops his head out of the castle and stares at the baseball hat with widened eyes. By extending a part of himself outside the confines of his castle's cardboard walls, Marcus shows vulnerability and willingness to venture into the real world. This scene presents an ideal version of reconciliation with the assumption that the bully will apologize for their actions and the victim will accept that apology. If people always had to wait for everyone who wronged them to apologize, then no one would be able to fully heal.